Hello and welcome to another new video. Prashanjit Paul here. If you do international fund transfer from India to any country like USA, Canada, UAE or Australia for any purpose like investment in stocks, education, travel, sending money to relatives, etc. So this is a must watch video for you because I will show you the cheapest international fund transfer option through which you can literally save thousands. Nowadays there are a lot of options, so watch this video till the end so that you can save thousands from your next international fund transfer onwards. So first, let's have a look at various associated costs while you do international fund transfer. The first thing is live market rate, the rate that you see in Google or any financial website. Let's say currently 1 USD is 75 Indian rupees. The second is currency selling rate. Remember, the rate that you see, like say for example today 1 USD is 75 Indian rupees. But while you do the money transfer, you can't get the exact 75 rupees. Most of the banks or financial institutions charge higher. So this is the currency selling rate, the rate at which you will transfer the money. This is always 0.1% to 2% higher. For example, if as of now 1 USD is 75 Indian rupees, then this currency selling rate can be anywhere between 75.1 to 76 or up to 76.5. So you can see this is a big range, and many various banks, various financial institutions charge various amounts. So just saving this much cost only. So if you can opt for the lowest provider who offer the best currency selling rate, you can save a lot of money. Then the next charge is the transaction charge. This is the charge that banks or financial institution charge you for the money transfer. Next, there are two costs. One is GST and then another is TCS. These two are basically fixed costs. So GST, that's is RBI guided cost. So from whoever medium you transfer, so GST will remain same. The amount of GST, there is 3 different slab. So the first slab, if the transfer amount is up to Indian currency 1 lakh, then that is simply 0.18% of the amount that is converted. So for example, if you transfer 1000 US dollar and let's say you are getting 75 rate, so 1000 US dollar means 75,000 Indian rupees, and 0.18% of 75,000 rupees comes at 135. So that's the GST you need to pay. That is irrespective of the service provider. Similarly, for the next slab, for 1 lakh to 10 lakh Indian rupees, the charge is 180 rupees plus 0.09% of the amount convert. Then there for 10 lakh, more than 10 lakh rupees, there is 990 plus 0.0118 percentage. So this is a fixed, so I won't talk much about it, or whatever the medium you will transact, that is a fixed cost. Next is TCS. This is tax collected at source. That's a new thing, and that is introduced from 1st October 2020 onwards. Now this is not actually a cost. This amount will be deducted, but you will get the refund or the adjustment while you do annual income tax return filing. So at the end of the year or while you pay advance tax, so that time you can adjust this amount. So from 1st October 2020 onwards, there is a 5% TCS for any amount more than 7 lakh if you transfer more than 7 lakh on any financial year. So basically why government introduced this TCS is, so earlier in last 5-10 years, government noticed a large amount, say for example 5 or 10 crores Indians do foreign travel, but not all of them file income tax return. So just to check the tax evasion, so they introduced this tax. Now this is applicable only if you do transfer of more than 7 lakhs on a year, and the increased amount, say for example if you transfer 10 lakhs Indian rupees on any particular year, so the 5% TCS will be applicable on 10 minus 7 only on the 3 lakhs. Now remember, there is no such limit if you go opt for foreign travel. Like even if you transfer 1 lakh rupees for any foreign travel, then also you need to pay that TCS. There is some relaxation, like there is only 0.5% for transferring amount that you obtain from via any education loan. Now remember, whenever you do international fund transfer, you need to mention a purpose code. So what's the purpose? Without purpose, you can't transfer amount to any bank account or to any person. So based on the purpose, these things will come. So now you can understand there are two components. One is variable component, the variable component that I mentioned, that is the currency selling rate and the transaction cost, and another is the fixed component, that is GST and TCS. So I'll more talk about this, the variable component, which service provider can offer the cheapest currency selling rate at the cheapest transaction charge. So as I have mentioned, if you do international fund transfer, you clearly need to mention the purpose. Like if I do fund transfer in India from Indian bank account to another Indian bank account, there is no need to mention the specific purpose code. But for international fund transfer, you must have to mention the purpose. So depending on the purpose, I'll show you the cheapest option. The first set of purpose is gift, travel, medical treatment, or sending money to any of your relatives, or transferring education fees or visa fees, or kind of business travel fees. So for all this purpose, the cheapest option for international money transfer, bank to bank money transfer, is TransferWise. And you can also check this DCB Remit. So these are new age companies, and these are much cheaper than the traditional players like Western Union, MoneyGram, and then all the banks. Remember, here banks are the most expensive because they not only charge the higher currency selling fee, they also charge a lot of transaction cost and corresponding bank charge and all. So these new age companies like TransferWise, DCB Remit, so they offer, DCB Remit is actually backed by a DCB bank. So that's another, so DCB bank had created another platform called DCB Remit for this international fund transfer or remittance purpose. So just because TransferWise provide cheapest currency selling rate, so you can save a lot of money through TransferWise. Just for example, so if currently on the Google or in financial website, if you find $1 equal to 75 Indian rupees, so TransferWise might offer 75.1 or 75.2 for the transfer, whereas if you go to bank, they might quote 76 rupees or 76.1, 76.5, etc. etc. You should also consider these companies like Book My Forex, Currency Fair, and all. So remember, I am not earning any money from TransferWise or from DCB Remit or anyone. So this is just based on my personal experience. I have also provided the link of all this TransferWise, DCB Remit in the description box, so you can also check out from there. Banks are obviously most expensive. Now, if I talking about the purpose of for investment in equity shares, very unfortunately, this purpose for money transfer for investment in equity shares is only allowed through commercial banks as per the current RBI rules. And you know, banks are expensive. But still, on the next few slides, I'll show you, out of all these banks, there are a set of PSU banks, private banks, then foreign banks. So which banks offer the cheapest option? So now again, for banks, there are these all four set of charges as like TransferWise or DCB Remit. One is the currency selling charge, the second is transaction charge, third is GST, and fourth is TCS. Now these companies like TransferWise, DCB Remit, they may not charge any transaction charge, but there is still this GST and TCS, as these are the fixed. So out of the banks, so let's focus which banks sell the currency at the cheapest rate. So this is the bank rate, which often called TT sell rate, or at which rate bank sell currency to you and you transfer the fund to your foreign relative, or for foreign travel, or for equity investment purpose. So I am dividing this four category. The first is this surprisingly, this PSU banks like Punjab National Bank and Bank of Baroda, they offer the cheapest bank rate, the cheapest TT sale rate. Remember, after a lot of research, I have checked each and every individual banks, almost each and every individual banks, and I have listed down in these 4 categories. Then the mid category range will SBI, State Bank of India, and the expensive are these one like Yes Bank, Kotak Bank, Axis, ICICI Bank, IDFC First Bank, and all these private banks. And among this private bank, what I find, the HDFC Bank offer a little lower rate than others, but this is higher than the PSU banks. For example, if currently 1 USD equal to like 75 Indian rupees, you can see in Google or in financial website. So maybe this Punjab National Bank and Bank of Baroda, they might charge kind of 75.8 or near about 76, whereas these private banks like Yes Bank, Kotak, they might charge 76.5 to 76. So Yes Bank, Kotak, so these are always like kind of 70 to 80 paisa more than Bank of Baroda and Punjab National banks. And the highest amount they charge from these foreign banks like Citi, Standard Chartered, HSBC, etc. Now the point that you need to remember is, for transferring fund or for remittance, for equity investment, you need to have a savings account in the bank that from where you need to transfer money. And another interesting point to notice, many banks also offer preferential rate for high net worth customers. Like say for example, HDFC Bank, they have a Imperia banking program. So for Imperia banking program, they offer 10 paisa better rate to their these customers. They have also preferred banking and all, depending on how much money or how much investment you hold with a particular bank. So depending on the relationship value, so this they have different programs. So under this preferential program, you will obviously get much better rate. But still, all these banks are much more expensive than this platform like DCB Remit, TransferWise, or Book My Forex, and all. But even within this bank, so this is the first component, the TT sale rate. Now that's not all. So just because this TT sale rate is cheapest for Bank of Baroda, you shouldn't move with Bank of Baroda. There is another component of cost, that is transaction cost. So talking about this transaction cost, there are two components. One, that is bank transaction charge, and then there is also the corresponding bank charge. So corresponding bank charge is nothing but the charge that might take the foreign bank. So in this charge, unfortunately, Bank of Baroda and Punjab National Bank, they often quote the highest, although we have noticed that Bank of Baroda charge lowest while it comes to the currency selling rate, but they charge highest in the transaction charge. And then SBI comes in the mid range, and the lowest is the private banks like HDFC, Yes Bank, ICICI. And depending on the relationship, a few banks may not charge at all. Like for example, I have Yes First customer. I'm maintaining Yes First relationship with Yes Bank, and sometimes based on some offer, they don't charge at all for the transaction charge. So if I summarize all these things, so for transfer, remember all these are transfer for equity investment. So earlier I have already discussed about the transfer for medical purpose, travel, sending gift, relatives, etc. So this is, so if I summarize, so what would be the cheapest option to transfer or for remittance for equity investment in shares? So here is the kind of summary. The first is, if you maintain preferential relationship with any bank, be it any private bank or any bank, so first approach to them, you can also bargain, because as you are an HNI customer, so you can also bargain. Many banks often reduce the charge. And then if you have a smaller amount to transfer, like say for Indian currency 3 lakhs or like less than US dollar 4,000, then I think HDFC Bank offer the most cost effective option. And then the second preference should be these private banks like Yes Bank, Axis Bank, ICICI, and etc. And then if you have a higher amount to transfer for a single go, like say for example more than 5 lakh Indian rupees, then these banks like PNB, Bank of Baroda, they will offer a cost effective option. And for anything in the mid range SBI, you can go for the State Bank of India. Remember, so after a lot of research and after approaching to almost every banks, I have noticed this charge and I had made the conclusion. So obviously before transferring, you must have to contact with the bank to know the exact charge and also the process. Like for equity investment, there is an form that you can collect from the broker, and then you just need to fill up the form and for this money transfer process, and the remaining part bank will guide you. The another point that I hope I have already mentioned earlier, that you must have a savings account. Like say for example, to transfer fund via SBI, you must have to be a savings account holder of SBI. And as you can see, like just by changing the banks, like if you are doing this transfer using ICICI Bank, so just by changing the bank you can save a lot of this transaction cost. So if I summarize this entire discussion, like if the purpose of transfer is education or for gifting or sending money to relatives or medical treatment or like visa fees, travel, so you should opt for these new age companies like TransferWise, DCB Remit. You should avoid banks because banks charge a lot higher than these companies. The second category, the investment in equity shares, you have no option other than banks because of the RBI rules. So in investment in equity shares, if you have the higher amount to transfer at a single go, at a single transaction, then you can prefer for Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda. And if you have a lower amount to transfer, then you can go for HDFC Bank or SBI Bank. And then after that, this preference like Yes Bank, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, this preference will come. So I hope this detailed guide will help you a lot and will save a lot of money for any of your next international fund transfer. If you have any queries, so make sure to post in the comment section. I'll do my best to address the query. Moreover, if you have any relatives or any friends who transfer, who do international fund transfer frequently, feel free to share this video with your friends because that will help them a lot to save money for the next international fund transfer. And finally, don't forget to subscribe my channel because I'll share a lot of insights on how to avoid loss in the stock market and multiple things related to the Indian stock market investing and also the foreign stock market investing. So until and unless you subscribe the channel, you won't get notifications, you won't get alerts of my next videos. So make sure to subscribe this channel. So that's all from my end. Stay tuned for another interesting video, and thanks a lot for watching the video.